Hey everyone, welcome to this What If story. A few things before we begin. This is a complete story version of my first What If ever, so it's really rough around the edges. My microphone isn't as good, my narration is nowhere near as good as it is now, and the editing is very simple. But throughout this series, I actually learned how to edit, how to narrate, and stuff like that. So by the end of it, you see where I am at this point. I actually didn't want to upload this full version because I'm not very proud of this story, at least the beginning of it. It's very edgy and really rough, just because of how I was in high school. So just remember that I'm a lot better than this now. Especially writing-wise, this story is really edgy. But I think it's important to look back at where we began to really appreciate where we are now. So I present to you What If Goku Joined the Saiyans, the complete story. I'm actually thinking about remaking this sometime, but you let me know down in the comments below. Anyways guys, we are at 150,000 subscribers, and we're getting close to 200,000. Thank you again, especially to the members of the channel, and enjoy.
In the first few episodes of Dragon Ball Z, we saw how the kind-hearted Goku was approached by his evil Saiyan brother, Raditz, with an offer. Together, along with two other Saiyans, would rule the galaxy together. We know what happened after, as Goku refuses and Raditz kidnaps Gohan. However, somewhere out there is a reality that sees Goku take his brother's offer. In this new What If, we will analyze that possible reality. Our story opens like the original one, as Goku and Gohan arrive at Kame House. Now remember, joining Raditz is pretty out of character for Goku, so once he arrives, Goku would refuse initially, but pushed enough, he would consider it. I'm not exactly sure what the circumstances would have to be for this to happen. Maybe Raditz is exponentially stronger, so he stands no chance against him, so he has no choice but to give in. In this reality, however, no fight between Raditz and Goku ensues. Rather, Goku joins Raditz without much pushback and is forced to leave his family behind. Again, this is super out of character, but we need to set up this scenario. Raditz knocks out Gohan and is about to take off with him, but Goku decides to negotiate the terms with Raditz, and agrees to join him as long as the planet is spared. In the meantime, Raditz leaves the knocked out Gohan in a crater created by Spot. Krillin and Piccolo join forces and try to stop him. Of course, neither of them are enough against Raditz, and Goku is forced to fight as well. While fighting, he communicates to Krillin that he's doing this to spare Earth, and Krillin understands. Raditz is fighting for real, however, and both are left near dead while Goku and Raditz go out and search for Goku's old space pod. Meanwhile, Piccolo's healing factor kicks in, allowing him to wake up. He's about to take Krillin back to Kame House, but notices Gohan crying outside of the space pod. Piccolo takes Gohan with him and leaves Krillin at Kame House. Goku and Raditz find this space pod and both leave to meet up with Vegeta and Nappa, but it would take the two Saiyans a long time to arrive at the system they're at. So, to pass the time, Raditz and Goku, who is now sporting his new Frieza soldier armor, train together. Goku tells Raditz about his adventures, and Raditz is disgusted by the acts of kindness, but intrigued at how much Goku grew without proper Saiyan training. The two begin to bond slowly, until finally Vegeta and Nappa arrive. Vegeta would take note that Goku is not only the weakest out of all of them, but the most soft of them as well. So, while training, he would really push Goku to his limits. Goku would not reveal anything about the Dragon Balls, at least not yet. Instead, the Saiyans would continue training and taking over planets, Goku having no option but to cooperate. Goku would at least try to talk to Raditz, as he's his brother, and show him kindness. The thought that they were both part of a dying Saiyan race leads him to accept Goku a bit more. He would tell Goku about Frieza and how they hate him and want to dethrone him. Back on Earth, Piccolo begins to train Gohan, telling him that his father has gone off and may return to take over the world. Some time goes by, and Krillin unites with Tenshinhan, Yamcha, and Chaozu to discuss Goku. They all agree to train to find and bring Goku back. Years later, fearing for the safety of Earth and realizing that Goku is no longer at their side, Kami-sama would call the Sea Fighters to join him at his lookout, including Piccolo and Gohan. They would be at odds with each other, but would be forced to train. They train in the hyperbolic time chamber and get substantially stronger. At this time, Gohan's about 9 years old, and has been raised to believe that his father left and betrayed Earth. Krillin, however, will take a different kind of parental role to teach Gohan the ways of the turtle, along with telling him stories of how Goku is actually a great guy and will sometime return. This creates a great connection between Krillin and Gohan, seeing him as much of a father figure as Piccolo. I'm gonna take a second here to explain why no other villain has appeared in the story, even though it's been years since it began. In the original timeline, we were around the Cell Saga right now. But see, with Goku leaving for space so early, Dr. Gero would give up on collecting data on him and killing Goku. Likewise, neither Frieza nor Vegeta know about the Dragon Balls yet, so they haven't gone to Namek. Anyhow, in our story, Frieza sees the rapid increase in power of the Saiyans. Though not scared, he takes precaution and sends them on a death mission. While on that planet, they are attacked by Dodoria, who ends up killing Raditz. Similarly, of course, to how they killed Bardock's teammates. Dodoria could comment on something about how Goku looks similar to that Saiyan Frieza killed long ago. Goku, enraged, would attack Dodoria and his fighting squad, and though they do okay against them, they only manage to escape. Goku thinks Dodoria betrayed them, but Vegeta thinks he was sent by Frieza, but they don't have time to worry about it now. Goku talks about getting revenge for Raditz, and maybe reviving him with the Dragon Balls, to which Vegeta's interest would be piqued. Vegeta thinks that it's useless to waste a wish on somebody like Raditz, but they do need more forces. Vegeta tells Goku that they can revive Raditz, but secretly wants to take the wish for himself. Goku would explain how he has a son on Earth, and they could bring him along. Thus, the Saiyan trio head to Earth. Kami senses that the Saiyans are on their way to Earth, and tells the Z-Fighters. Krillin and Yamcha are excited, but the rest aren't too sure. Gohan doesn't know what to think of it, however, but they keep training. Gohan is now 11 years old, so it would be around age 767. Finally, the Saiyans arrive on Earth, and they meet the Z-Fighters. Except for Gohan and Piccolo, who stayed behind to train a bit more. Now remember, though the Saiyans in our reality were a lot stronger than the Z-Fighters in this story have had years of training together and in the time chamber. So with that being said, Krillin is happy to see Goku, who asks for the Dragon Balls. Goku explains himself, and the Z-Fighters refuse to even think about reviving a Saiyan, or even handing over the Dragon Balls. Thus, a battle ensues. Nappa plants a handful of Cybermen, but they stand no chance against Yamcha. Meanwhile, Krillin goes off to battle Goku. He's soon joined by Yamcha. Tenshinhan and Yamcha battle Nappa. All of them are pretty even against their enemies, though the Saiyans are clearly stronger. While the other two Saiyans fight, Vegeta sits in his Saiyan pod, waiting for the moment he is needed. Nappa starts to overpower the fighters, so just like in the Saiyan saga, Chaozu sacrifices himself to defeat him. This time, however, it works, and Nappa's taken out. Nappa's death prompts Vegeta to join in the battle, and Tenshinhan stands no chance against him. Just then, he senses that Piccolo and Gohan will soon be arriving, so all he has to do is keep Vegeta at bay. In the meantime, Yamcha and Krillin fight violently, and Krillin demands for Yamcha to help out Tenshinhan. Though he doubts he will need it, Vegeta launches an artificial moon and transforms into a great ape. The two fighters just try to distract Vegeta. Krillin, seeing that Vegeta has transformed, pushes back Goku and launches a Kienzan at Vegeta. But the Kienzan is about to miss. Seeing this, Yamcha fires the Sokidan against Vegeta's chest, pushing him towards the Kienzan, and thus cutting off his tail. However, just as Yamcha hits Vegeta, Vegeta fires a blast towards Yamcha, killing him. Now, the only two fighters left are Krillin and Tenshinhan. Tenshinhan begins to fire Kikohos at Vegeta, delaying him for a while. Krillin is at the end of his rope. Just then, however, Piccolo and Gohan arrive. Piccolo catches Tenshinhan as he falls, dead from the Kikoho's power, while Krillin slowly begins to fly over to hug Gohan. Gohan is enraged by the death around him, so he hugs Krillin, telling him that his father and the Saiyans will pay for this. Krillin tells Gohan that Goku is good. Goku, realizing that his son doesn't see him as his father, gives in completely, throwing a punch at Krillin, killing him. Gohan screams out, lays Krillin down, and rushes to battle Goku. Goku's impressed, and is actually taken back. Piccolo in the meantime is fighting Vegeta, who recognizes him as a Namekian, the creators of the Dragon Balls. The battle is fierce, and the two fights intertwine, with Vegeta firing a Galak gun towards Gohan, and in response Gohan firing a Masenko, beating Vegeta's own attack, and weakening him. Goku vs Gohan ensues, while Piccolo tries to keep Vegeta back. The Saiyans are beaten, and Goku asks for Gohan to join him once more. The Saiyans are beaten, and Goku asks Gohan to join him once more, as Vegeta calls forth the space bots. Gohan is about to kill his father, as Piccolo tries to reach Vegeta, though is too hurt to get there. Vegeta manages to escape, while Gohan charges up a blast in front of Goku's face. Gohan then remembers Krillin, and how he believed that Goku was good until the end. He lets Goku go in the space pod. Gohan goes up to Piccolo, who yells at him for letting the Saiyans go, but Gohan collapses, crying as Piccolo reaches over to hold him. And this is the end to this universe's Saiyan saga.
Hey kids, don't go away. We'll be right back.
I hope you guys are enjoying the video, and if you like the stuff I do, there's a way you can support the channel. By clicking the membership button, you will be able to see various tiers. Each one of them has some rewards. My personal favorite ones are the Super Saiyan hair badges that adorn your name in comments and live streams on my channel. The longer you stay a member, the larger the power up. So if you like the stuff I do and feel like supporting me in some way, be sure to check out the membership. Anyways, back to the show.
Back to our show.
Last time on Dragon Ball Z, Gohan and the Z Fighters trained to prepare themselves for the Saiyan arrival. Once the aliens arrived, a great battle ensued, in which many lives were lost. On the hero side, Tenshinhan, Chaozu, Yamcha, and even Krillin perished, while on the Saiyan side only lost Nappa. Goku confronted his son and lost in combat. Vegeta escaped, leaving Gohan and Piccolo as the only two Z Fighters left. Now, with knowledge of where the Saiyans might go next, the two fighters prepare for their final battle. Gohan and Piccolo set out to collect the Earth's Dragon Balls to revive the Z Fighters and get their help. Thanking to Bulma, the process is relatively easy. However, just when they were about to call Shenlong, a voice sounds inside of Gohan's head. Kaio-sama, the Lord of Worlds, tells Gohan that Krillin and the rest are with him, training, and aren't ready just yet to return. Yamcha intervenes and asks what their plan is. Then, they explain that there is a Namekian ship they will take to Namek, the place they suspect the Saiyans will arrive next. Gohan insists to try to bring back his father. Yamcha thinks that's a great idea, and he wants to come back along with them. Krillin and the others argue that they want to return too, but Yamcha admits that he's already as strong as he's going to get. So, he tells Tenshinhan and Krillin that they should stay and train more. Chaozu too, of course. They agree, and Yamcha is revived with the Dragon Balls, ready to accompany Piccolo, Gohan, and Bulma. So, the Z Fighters in the other world train to get stronger. Chaozu is far behind the other two, but develops his psychic skills instead. Krillin and Tenshinhan struggle to learn the Kaioken. Before parting to Namek, Gohan pays a visit to his mother. She looks much older than she is, due to all the stress. She doesn't recognize her boy until he introduces himself. They hug and cry. Chi-Chi begs Gohan to stay, but he tells his mom that he has to go and attempt to bring back his father. She reluctantly agrees. With the help of Mr. Popo and Kami, they get the Namekian ship from Yatsubi Heights and blast off into space. Meanwhile, Goku and Vegeta are on a distant planet, regaining their power slowly in healing tanks. The two overhear that Frieza's on planet Namek. Vegeta tells Goku that they are leaving for Namek soon, but Goku is reluctant. Some of Frieza's soldiers realize that Frieza has ordered Goku and Vegeta's execution, and so Goku agrees to travel to Namek in order to avoid conflict with the soldiers. Frieza is already on Namek, collecting the Dragon Balls alongside Zarbon and Dodoria. Once the Z Fighters arrive, Piccolo orders Bulma to hide in a nearby cave, trying to also hide their spaceship. Some Frieza goons appear and attempt to destroy the ship. Gohan easily deflects an attack by rushing into it. This, however, alerts nearby scouters, including Frieza's. This quick jump in power has him worried, but he continues to search for the Dragon Balls. He also decides to call down the Ginyu Force, just in case. Vegeta and Goku also look for the Dragon Balls. Goku's still under the impression that they will revive Raditz. They separate in order to go and find two separate Dragon Balls. Vegeta heads towards Grand Elder Guru's house, while Goku heads towards the village. Gohan and Piccolo search for Goku's power, when they realize there's a much bigger power source nearby. They find Frieza threatening a village, when they get their scouters destroyed by a Namekian. Gohan sprints into action, deflecting a blast from Dodoria back at him, causing a good amount of damage. Piccolo joins in, and a battle ensues.
Zarbon and Dodoria battle against the two while Frieza leaves, telling them not to forget the Dragon Balls. Zarbon and Dodoria realize that the two are trying to protect the villagers, so they begin to attack them. Gohan grabs onto one, and Piccolo distracts them with a blast. The three escape just in time. Zarbon attempts to follow them, while Dodoria continues to try to get the Dragon Ball. Goku senses his son and Piccolo, but quickly loses them as they hide their ki while escaping. He instead continues on his mission and arrives on the same village that Dodoria is at. Dodoria laughs at Goku, telling him that he just saw a runt similar to him. Goku's ready to battle, realizing that Gohan is in fact on Namek. "I will avenge Raditz," Goku exclaims to Dodoria. The residents on this village tell them that they will give him the Dragon Ball if they leave. Goku says, "Don't worry, it'll only take a second." Then he punches Dodoria across the water to get him away from the village. Dodoria tries to explain that Frieza has always hated the Saiyans, and he was the one that destroyed planet Vegeta. Goku doesn't care, however, and he kills Dodoria. Goku then returns and gets the Dragon Ball from the villagers. He questions them about a young man and a fighter Namekian. They tell him that they flew away. He is now sure that they're here. He smirks. It is revealed that the Namekian Gohan saved is named Dende, the two-luz Zarbon, who is encountered by Vegeta. Vegeta and Zarbon battle, while Piccolo and Gohan see that Vegeta seems stronger than before. They overhear that Frieza is trying to get the Dragon Balls to gain immortality, and Vegeta wants them for this too. Zarbon asks, "What about your other Saiyan friend, Kakarot? Once I'm immortal, I'll keep him around," though he thinks we're trying to get the Dragon Balls to revive his loser brother. Gohan was very upset at this. It seems like his father was only trying to revive his lost brother, but him and Piccolo had to quickly move. They also take the young Namekian, Dende. Yamcha had stayed behind with Bulma, and it seems like their old romance has started up again. The other fighters soon arrive and introduce Dende. He wants to help get rid of the evil attacking their planet. A huge surge of power is felt, it being Zarbon powering up into his ugly form. Vegeta kills him easily, explaining that the Saiyans get stronger after near-death experiences. Goku now has one of the Dragon Balls. Frieza has 4. Vegeta is on his way to get one. The Sea Fighters decide to get moving, so they head towards the last village not yet raided by the others. Goku is headed that way too. Once they arrive at the village, they see that Goku is already interrogating one of the Namekians. Gohan begins to charge up a Kamehameha and fired at him, and Goku turns back and smirks. He explained that he's just trying to bring back Raditz, and he doesn't want to hurt anybody. Yamcha screams at Goku, asking why he did what he did. Yamcha begins a small battle against Goku while Gohan takes the Dragon Ball away. Once Gohan escapes, Yamcha uses the Taiyoken, or the solar flare, to escape. Goku searches for their ki, while Piccolo watches him from afar. Everyone is hiding their power level, but Goku is about to find Gohan behind a corner. Suddenly, 5 ships crash not too far. Goku's upset at this and begins to fly towards them. The Sea Fighters wonder what that was about. Dende directs them towards Grand Elder's house. The fighters fly, but then realize that Vegeta is already there. Dende wants to help Guru, but Nail shows up and battles with Vegeta. Vegeta has the upper hand, and Piccolo joins in the battle. Vegeta is getting pushed back quite a bit when 5 people suddenly arrive at their location. Vegeta curses at everything and tells the Sea Fighters that it's their fault that Frieza will now own the entire universe. Of course, the 5 characters are the Ginyu Tokusentai. Burger quickly steals 2 of the Dragon Balls on the scene. Ginyu flies away and takes them to Frieza. Grand Elder tells Nail to lead them away from him. The fighters fly a bit further away. The Ginyu Force decide in rock, paper, scissors who will fight first. But in the middle of it, Nail begins to attack, and the others join. Vegeta battles Jais and Burger, Gohan and Piccolo battle Recoome, and Yamcha battles Goldo. Vegeta begins to get overpowered by the duo when Kakarot shows up. The two battle Jais and Burger. Gohan and Piccolo finish off Recoome, but Yamcha is having trouble with Goldo. This is when Goku steps in and slams Goldo's face against the ground, defeating him. Vegeta doesn't want to work with the Sea Fighters, but he needs to get the Dragon Balls back. Kakarot is distant from Gohan and the rest, but tells them that he's only with them for now. Yamcha and Piccolo are especially aggressive about fighting alongside them, but Nail and Gohan insist that they don't have much of a choice. Nail stays back to take care of Guru, while everybody else heads out to Frieza's ship. Frieza and Ginyu are trying to figure out how to summon the dragon. The gang hide their power level as they try to run towards Frieza's ship. However, Ginyu begins to fly back towards Goro's place and asks for the password. He passes by the group and they realize what's going on. Vegeta and Yamcha go after Ginyu, while Piccolo, Gohan, and Kakarot go after Frieza. No time to lose, Vegeta and Yamcha fight Ginyu before he arrives at Guru's place. He's clearly losing, so he uses his body change move on Vegeta. Yamcha continues to fight, as Vegeta on Ginyu's body tells him that he needs to stop being a weakling and fight on. Yamcha is getting pushed back by Ginyu, but he uses the Taioken once again to blind for a second. Then he finishes him off with a Sokidan. Ginyu once again tries to switch bodies, this time with Yamcha, but Vegeta jumps in front and gets his body back. Vegeta finally blasting off and killing him. Vegeta gives Yamcha a slight compliment, telling him that he did good. He tells him that he needs healing. Dende, who had stayed back at Guru's place, comes out. In this story, he has no reluctance in healing Vegeta, as Dende didn't know that Vegeta killed any Namekians. Vegeta is significantly stronger now. Yamcha tells Dende that he might need him soon, so they take him to Frieza's ship too. Meanwhile, Goku, Piccolo, and Gohan arrive to battle Frieza. Frieza is surprised that Kakarot's still alive and wonders if Vegeta is too. He smirks and admits that they are all very powerful to have defeated the Ginyu Force, Zarbon, and Dodoria, so he decides to take on his second form right away, with Goku and Piccolo taking him on at the same time. Goku says that he appreciates the way Piccolo has been taking care of Gohan, but Piccolo ignores him. Goku and Piccolo move out of the way, and Gohan fires off a blast against Frieza. This prompts him to reevaluate his odds and transforms once again. Yamcha, Vegeta, and Dende steal the Dragon Balls from inside the ship and take them far away, summoning Purunga. The sky turns dark, to which Frieza says that they have been fighting for so long that it's turned into night. Goku giggles at this a little. Frieza begins to fire death beams at him in response. Gohan acts quickly by taking Frieza's tail and launching him off against the water. This takes out Frieza from the fight for a little bit. Gohan notes at Piccolo and Goku, and they all know what Yamcha and Vegeta have done. Goku, without warning, shoots off after an unknown target. Vegeta and Yamcha are arguing over a wish, but Dende takes the first one he hears in full, and decides to revive Krillin and bring him down, meaning 2 wishes are out of the way. Remember, in this timeline, Krillin is very, very strong, and has been training with Kaio-sama to learn the Kaioken and the Genki-Dama. So Krillin is brought back. Tenshinhan is kind of upset that he wasn't revived, but supports Krillin. Krillin is now on Namek, not far from where the dragon was summoned, so he finds Yamcha and Vegeta pretty soon. He's ready to fight Vegeta when a loud boom sounds. Krillin looks next to him and sees Yamcha dead on the floor. Frieza had arrived and shot him down. He's very upset. He's about to ask for immortality when the Dragon Balls are turned into stone. Gohan and the others arrive soon after, and the battle continues. Frieza is confused on what just happened, and so is everybody else. Goku's nowhere to be seen, but soon rushes back. Everybody wonders what happened to the Dragon Balls, when Goku says, if the Dragon Balls work anything like the ones on Earth do, then killing Namek's quote-unquote Kami has destroyed any chance for Frieza to get his wish. As it turns out, Goku kills Nail and Guru. Everybody thinks that Goku's insane, and Dende cries. Krillin joins in the fight with a Kaioken ×4. Gohan is enraged at Yamcha's death, and he joins in the battle as well. Vegeta yells about turning into a Super Saiyan or something like that. Piccolo takes over the fight for a little bit, and Krillin explains to Gohan that he has a new technique to defeat Frieza, but he will need some time. Frieza throws Piccolo at Krillin and begins to transform one last time. Goku and Vegeta team up to fight this time, but they aren't doing very well. Krillin starts to create a Genki-Dama from every planet nearby, and Piccolo and Gohan stand back to protect him. Vegeta and Goku use the Godlike Gun and the Kamehameha respectively to land a massive blow on Frieza. Frieza realizes finally what Krillin is doing, as the Spirit Bomb is gigantic above him, so he rushes to attack him, but Vegeta jumps in front of him, getting impaled by a beam. Vegeta says he didn't do it for Krillin, just to kill Frieza. He yells at Dende for help, who begins to run towards him, but is also killed by Frieza. Vegeta dies, telling Goku that it was up to him now to keep the Saiyan spirit alive. Frieza created a death ball in an attempt to stop Krillin and throws it down on the planet. Now there's only a few minutes until the planet blows up. As Frieza's about to throw another ball of ki at Goku, Krillin launches the Genki-Dama at Frieza, who attempts to catch it, but is overpowered easily. Finally, it seems it's over. Goku goes up to his son and tells him how proud he is of him, and he's sorry about everything that happened. Gohan kinda nods at him, but has a tear in his eye. Krillin's worn out, but he laughs loudly. and Piccolo puts a hand on Gohan's head and smiles. Suddenly, another boom is heard, and the death beam goes through Piccolo's chest. Both Goku and Gohan catch him in his arms. Another boom, Krillin's on the ground. Piccolo and Krillin are badly hurt, but not dead just yet.
Frieza begins to talk, but Goku and Gohan both scream in anger. Thunder sounds off in the distance, both turning into Super Saiyans. Gohan steps forward, telling Frieza that he would never forgive him for what he did to Yamcha, Vegeta, Piccolo, all the Namekians, the Saiyans. Goku begins to charge up a Kamehameha wave. Gohan does the same, firing it at the same time, blasting off Frieza. The battle commences, with Frieza being overwhelmed by its power. Even at a 100%, he stands no chance. Meanwhile, in the other world, Kaiosama communicates with Krillin, Gohan, Goku, and the rest, telling them that they have gathered the Dragon Balls on Earth. He needs Krillin to get Bulma and get ready for everybody to be returned to Earth. Krillin takes Piccolo's unconscious body and finds Bulma in a cave, and then explains everything to her. Yamcha, Dende, and Vegeta are all brought back to life, as Kami wishes on Shenron for everybody that was killed by Frieza to be brought back. Sadly, neither Guru nor Nail are brought back, since they were killed by Goku and not Frieza nor his men. Frieza now at 100% begins to fight off Gohan, who is really tired and hurt from the battle. However, Goku is much more up to part. The two fire a dual Kamehameha once again at Frieza, who's barely able to take it. Goku, as he fires the Kamehameha, tells Gohan to get out of there, that he's sorry for everything that happened, and that he wishes he could change things. Gohan says that he wishes Goku could have been a better father to him, but he doesn't hate him. Gohan says that now it is his battle. The two continue to fight, and everybody on Namek is being brought back to Earth, thanks to Kami's wish. Krillin and Piccolo ask where Gohan and Goku are. They realize that they have chosen to die in battle against Frieza. Back on Namek, Goku flies above Frieza while Gohan stands below. Frieza's cornered with nowhere to run. Both Goku and Gohan fire one final blast at Frieza, who is destroyed instantly. Gohan is bleeding out. Seems like he's going to die. He tells his father that he forgives him for everything, and that he's happy that they could both spend at least a little bit of time together. He says this as Planet Namek explodes.
Last time on Dragon Ball Z, the final battle between Gohan, Kakarot, and Frieza began. The two finally achieving the power of Super Saiyan and defeating the monster. Sadly, the two had no time to escape to Earth as Gohan was bleeding out from the fight. Goku and Gohan apologize to each other as Planet Namek is destroyed.
Back on Earth, Krillin and Piccolo have collected the Dragon Balls to bring Chaozu and Tenshinhan back. The fighters are brought back to life and have a good laugh and a smile along with the Namekians. They then use the Namekian Dragon Balls to rebuild a new Namek, and sent all the Namekians that way. The Z fighters discuss bringing back Gohan and Goku, but aren't sure if that's what they want. Finally, Vegeta, who has been living on Earth with Bulma, yells at Dende to bring back Kakarot's son. Everyone is confused at this request, and asks why Vegeta wouldn't want Goku back. Vegeta simply walks away. So, Gohan is brought back, but he is distant from everyone. He tells them that he thanks everyone for their help, but it is now time for him to go home. So he heads to Chi-Chi, who he only saw once before dying. Chi-Chi, looking much older than she actually is, welcomes Gohan and cries with him over what happened to Goku and his family overall. He tells Chi-Chi that Goku died a good man, talking about his family. So, a year passes, and the Dragon Warriors go their separate ways. Krillin one day goes to Capsule Corp and asks for Bulma to give him the Dragon Radar. His plan is to revive Goku, his best friend of old. Maybe this way they can reconcile with everyone. He now has 4 Dragon Balls. In the meantime, Gohan has been training hard. He grew up as a fighter and now accepts that he can't get away from it. He trains day and night in whatever way he can. One day, while Krillin finds the final Dragon Ball, a powerful energy is felt. King Colt has landed on Earth with his army, ready to take over Earth. In revenge for Frieza's death, the army attacks from all fronts, and the fighters are brought together one more time to fight. Gohan, a Super Saiyan, is leading the charge as the battle wave after wave of enemies. The remaining Frieza forces now fall under King Colt's command, who he riled up to avenge his son. but mostly in an attempt to subdue the Saiyans and enslave them as powerful warriors. The forces prove to be too many for the Dragon Team, and they begin to scatter. This is when a sound of metal clashing against armor is heard, and many more aliens begin to be defeated, all thanks to a mysterious youth. The Z fighters are surprised, but thankful for his help. Finally, almost all of the forces are gone, thanks to Ten Shinhan, Yamcha, Krillin, Vegeta, Gohan, and the mysterious youth. King Cold charges at a distracted Gohan, but the new warrior steps in as a Super Saiyan, stopping the king with the butt of his sword. What are you? Without even saying a word, the warrior flipped up his sword, catching it and slicing King Cold multiple times, killing him. Then blows up his mothership. Gohan was surprised and even terrified. The other Sea Fighters as well. The man turned and introduced himself to Gohan. His name was Trunks, and he was sent from the future to warn them about the androids. In just a couple of months, 2 androids will attack the world and doom it. According to him, these androids were created by a mad scientist known as Dr. Gero, who first built them to kill Goku. But after the Saiyan fight, where Goku turned against Earth itself, he decided to use them to kill all the warriors associated with them, rebuild the Red Ribbon Army, and take over the world in preparation for Goku's return. Gero saw him not only as a personal enemy, but as a threat to the whole world, and was sure that everyone else in that fight must be stopped, as they could potentially turn on the world as well. As it turns out, Trunks was the only warrior left. He was a Super Saiyan trained by Gohan, who died in the final battle against the androids. Trunks was very emotional when telling Gohan this story, as Gohan in the present and the future look pretty much the same. He contains himself and explains that they need to prepare for their arrival. He leaves off by telling Gohan that he is the son of Vegeta and Bulma. Krillin reveals what he has been up to after Gohan tells them about the androids, and shows them that he has all the Dragon Balls, and is ready to bring back Goku. Ten Shinhan and Piccolo are against it, but Gohan explains that they might need him. So the team summon Shenron and revive Goku. He is confused and startled, even a bit upset that he was brought back. He asks why he was brought back, and they tell him that they need his help, that something is coming. Goku takes a bit to convince, but finally agrees. Gohan and him head out to Chi-Chi's house, where she nearly passes out at Goku's sight. She slaps Goku and cries as she yells at him about the past years being alone. Chi-Chi honestly doesn't want to see him anymore, but allows him to stay. Little by little, she warms up to him. Secretly, he plans to get the Dragon Balls to bring back Raditz. Remember, this Goku created a huge bond with Raditz and does think that he's potentially a good person. The years of training with Vegeta, Nappa, and Raditz under Frieza's order made him much more violent and extreme in his actions. He also developed an extreme respect and loyalty for Vegeta. Essentially, he is more similar to Turles in attitude. However, he has become a bit like the Goku we know since his experiences on Namek. Anyhow, he knows that it will take a year for the Dragon Balls to return to normal, so he has to wait it out. He eventually goes up and meets with Krillin, who he tells that he isn't happy about being returned to life when he accepted being dead. He tells him that he needs the Dragon Radar that he borrowed from Bulma. Krillin tells him no, that they can't bring back another Saiyan. Goku punches Krillin with a smile, saying how this is just like old times. Krillin responds with his own punch. Yeah, except I'm a lot tougher now. The two duke it out, and Gohan and Vegeta detect a key and rush towards it. They're pretty much even in strength until Goku turns Super Saiyan. Vegeta and Gohan arrive to stop the battle. Vegeta is at awe at the power of the Super Saiyan. They explain the situation, and Gohan tells Krillin to give Goku the Dragon Radar, and that they are strong enough to take him on in case something goes wrong. They leave, but Vegeta is left behind, upset that he isn't a Super Saiyan. He finally tells Goku to come with him, and the two begin to train in the gravity chamber. Krillin asks Gohan if it's a good idea, as he isn't sure that if neither Goku nor Vegeta can be trusted just yet. Gohan tells him that he isn't sure, but he's so good in his father on Namek, and Krillin finally agrees. Goku and Vegeta begin to train, and they are fairly even in power. However, Vegeta stands no chance against Super Saiyan Goku. The battle continues for a long time as days and days go by when they spar. Finally, one night, Goku begins to beat down on Vegeta as he exclaims how he is a low-class Saiyan and is much lesser than him, yet he stands above him as the one who defeated Frieza. Vegeta finally snaps, angry at himself for letting himself fall behind. Vegeta explodes in power as a huge aura sparks up, punching Goku through the chamber door. Finally, he reaches the state of Super Saiyan and is about even with Goku. However, they both recognize that they are still far behind Gohan, so they continue to train. Time passes and everyone but Goku and Vegeta round up to meet the androids. Gohan is leading the pack, with Piccolo, Krillin, Yamcha, and Ten Shinhan close behind. The androids have already begun to attack, and the Z Fighters take no time to congratulate Bulma on her baby. Instead, they rush in, noting that Bulma has some senzu beans. They begin to look around, asking everyone. Suddenly, there is an explosion that covers up a large part of the island. The Z Fighters can't see anything, they just hear the screams. Gohan thinks, and hears the shouts of Ten Shinhan, then a scream from Piccolo. He then realizes that they can't sense anybody's power level. Gohan thinks quickly, and disperses the smoke with a wind wave. Sadly, he only finds Ten Shinhan and Piccolo bleeding out on the ground. Yamcha is being held by the throat by a figure, struggling in pain. Krillin is nowhere to be found. Gohan is enraged, and rushes towards the figure, who simply throws Yamcha back at him, knocking them to the ground. Yamcha was unconscious and really pale, like the life was taken out of him. Gohan fires a Masenko, which the figure extends his hands and absorbs the energy. Gohan finally understands what's going on, and yells at the thing to reveal itself. It was a fat android, number 19. Gohan thinks quickly and rushes towards 19, grabbing a hold of his face, slamming it against the ground. However, 19 blasts through Gohan's hand with his beam eyes. Gohan cries out in pain, but throws another punch against 19's chest. 19 grabs Gohan by the arms, absorbing his energy. Gohan's energy is draining fast when a disc zooms through 19's arms, cutting them off. A beaten up Krillin appears. He smiles at Gohan, who took this opportunity to finally kill the android with a final blast. Krillin is glad that it's finally over and picks up Ten Shinhan and Yamcha. Piccolo is already up, having healed himself, though it'll be a bit until he's at 100%. Krillin flies off to get some senzu that they left with Bulma. Gohan tells Piccolo that he doesn't think it's over, that they need to find Jiro. He realizes that Krillin thought that he was attacked by 19, but Gohan thinks it was something else. Krillin must have been attacked by something stronger. Suddenly, an evil laugh is heard throughout. Dr. Jiro introduces himself, and is accompanied by a cloaked figure. Piccolo asks why he's doing this, to which Jiro responds by telling him that he will protect Earth from all of them. That they will one day rebel against Earth just like Goku did once. That he, leading the Red Ribbon Army, will defend Earth. Gohan turns Super Saiyan and rushes towards Jiro. The cloaked figure moves in front of him and slaps Gohan away. It didn't hurt much, but it did catch him by surprise. Krillin returns with the fighters, but Gohan yells at them to get away. Dr. Jiro moves his head to glance at them and begins to fire off blasts from his eyes. They are able to dodge it, but they realize that this city is getting more and more destroyed. So Gohan and the rest rush out, followed by Dr. Jiro and the cloaked figure. They reach a desolate island, where all the sea fighters attempt to fire ki blasts at Jiro, who simply absorbs them with his hands. Gohan tells everyone to stop, that he will fight alone. Krillin says otherwise, and joins in with a Kaioken times 20. Krillin rushes at Jiro, but once again, the cloaked man jumps in front. This time, however, Gohan knocks the man out of the way, as Krillin ducks under him and punches Jiro in the crotch. The cloaked man's hood is taken off to reveal a red-headed man. Dr. Jiro isn't hurt much, as he's mostly metal, but he yells at them not to touch the red-headed man, who he calls Android 16. 16 exchanges blows with Gohan as Krillin battles Jiro. Things aren't looking too great, and the others are about to jump in. Gohan is knocked down to the ground, and so is Krillin. They are next to each other, so Dr. Jiro jumps on top of them and begins to drain their energies. The sound of charging energy is heard, as someone exclaims, "Kamehame!" and the blast shoots at the back of Dr. Gero. Just in time, 16 steps in the way, but this forces Gero to let go of the two warriors. 16 looks and sees that Goku and Vegeta, both Super Saiyan. Everyone is surprised to see that not only Vegeta is a Super Saiyan, but the training between Goku and Vegeta has potentially made them even stronger than Gohan once they fight together. So the two take on Android 16, who is able to take them both on as equals. Goku at one point spin kicks 16, who he breaks his jaw off of. This provokes Gero to get upset, calling 16 his son, and running to blast Goku and Vegeta. However, Piccolo zooms in front of Gero, grabbing his hand and breaking it. Gero is hurt, which causes 16 to leave the fight and attack Piccolo. "Father!" says 16 as he rushes to aid Gero. Everyone is confused by this, but Gero calls off 16 after he gets Piccolo off of him, telling him to be careful but focus on the Saiyans. Gohan has taken a Senzu Bean, with only 2 more left. Piccolo, Krillin, Yamcha, and Ten Shinhan stand back. Gohan is about to fight Gero, but he finally begins to flee. Gohan goes after him while telling the others to stay. Gero has driven Gohan away from everyone else, taking him to a desolate area. Here, 2 more androids await. Number 18 and number 17, their eyes glowing red. So here I want to take a second to point out a few things. In this story, Gero had enough time to further develop the androids. That's why 16, 17, and 18 are loyal to him, though they aren't 100% controlled by him. Also, as far as power goes, I made this chart to show how strong everyone is compared to each other. For the Saiyans, the yellow part is the power they can reach once transformed. For Krillin, the red part is his power once he uses the Kaioken times 20. Anyhow, Gohan is surprised to see that there were even more androids than he expected. He thought about how Trunks only said 2, but the timeline must have changed a lot. The 2 androids reveal themselves with smirks on their faces, their backs pressed against each other. Android 18 was missing an arm, however. Gero exclaims that, "Damn it, 18! If you had stand back instead of going after the bald one when I told you, maybe you'd still have your arm." Gohan realizes that it must have been Android 18 who beat up Krillin under the cloud of smoke, and he must have used the Kiensan to cut her arm and get away. 17 and 18 jump into battle with Gohan, where he is being destroyed. Though he can hold his own against one, when both attack, it's impossible for him to catch up. They are both sadistic, but their martial arts aren't well refined, which is why he's able to maneuver through their moves and read their attacks, even if he can't sense their ki, though they are too fast for him. He is losing and is caught in a flurry of ki blast. He realizes that his whole day he has been doing pretty badly. He's distracted and not really giving it his all. Suddenly, a boom is heard, and the sound of a sword clashing against 17's back. Trunks had finally arrived as a full-on Super Saiyan. He is enraged as he promised himself to protect Gohan. A crater is created around the area where 17 was hit by the sword, and the sword struggles to keep together. Trunks draws it back and begins to battle 17. Gohan, on the other hand, gets away from the blast that 18 continued to fire and began to battle against her. 17 and 18 are still winning, as they have a great synergy together, switching opponents back and forth. Meanwhile, Vegeta and Goku continue their battle against 16. They are equals in power, but 16 has an infinite power supply. Goku's still keeping up, but Vegeta's having a bit more trouble maintaining his newly acquired form. 16 extends his arm out and pushes both Goku and Vegeta to the ground, where they are both nearly buried. 16 then takes half his arms off and points the rest of them at his Saiyans. Charging up the blast, he fired. However, Goku, seeing what's going on, kicks his leg up in the air, pushing one of 16's arms up. The blast fires, engulfing the whole island. Goku and Vegeta were pushed away by the blast. Goku's whole right side was badly hurt, burnt from the blast. Vegeta was somewhat okay, though a bit hurt. Goku had saved Vegeta by kicking 16's arm up. Goku was out of commission for the fight. Vegeta was dazed and confused as to why Kakarot decided to save Vegeta instead of himself. The smoke began to clear, and 16 stood tall. The left side of his face was completely destroyed, leaving nothing but wires and heaps of metal. He had been hit by his own blast when Goku kicked his leg up. Dr. Gero, who had retreated back to his secret base of operations, realized in his monitors how much damage 16 had received, and sent a retreat message. 16 quickly hurried out from the fighting arena. Every Z fighter was worn out and confused, but they needed to get Goku to safety fast. They realized that they need to also find Gohan when they feel a huge power level battling. Tien and Yamcha agreed to take Goku back to Bulma, while Vegeta, Piccolo, and Krillin go towards Gohan. Trunks and Gohan continue to battle, and they both begin to realize how similar they are moving. So, the two begin to sync up, just like 17 and 18 have been. This allows them to combine attacks much better. Though they still can't match in power, their synthesis matches the androids. Trunks is thankful that he gets to battle alongside Gohan once more, who he saw as a father figure. Finally, Krillin, Piccolo, and Vegeta arrive. 18 sees Krillin and gets furious. She looks at him and launches a Kien-san towards him, so fast that he barely has time to react. Gohan sees this and jumps in front of Krillin to protect him, his arm getting caught off in the process. Trunks looks in horror as Gohan's arm flops towards him. He reaches towards Gohan, who he wanted to protect. Gohan was screaming in pain. This causes Trunks to see a flashback back to his own future, where Gohan lost an arm. This causes him to erupt in anger as he yelled out and a huge crater was created around him. His aura gained small electricity sparks and his hair spiked up a bit more. In an instant, he punches 18 in the face, making her fly against 17. Trunks continues to fight against the two androids who are struggling a lot more, but they are still keeping up, thanks to their number. Finally, Trunks fires a Masenko at the androids, who get hurt badly, so Jiro calls them back to their base. Trunks wants to follow, but a bleeding Gohan jumps in front of him and tells him to stop, that they are fleeing. They are no longer a threat to them. Trunks comes down a little, powering down, and crying as he holds Gohan, apologizing for failing him again. For now, the androids have retreated, but the Z fighters did not win.
Last time on Dragon Ball Z, the Z Warriors gathered around to meet the androids. Gohan and Krillin destroyed Android 19, but were soon overwhelmed by 16 and Dr. Gero. Goku and Vegeta, both Super Saiyans, joined forces to help in Battle 16. Meanwhile, Trunks returned from the future and fought alongside Gohan against 18 and 17. After an intense battle, 18 attempted to attack the spectating Krillin with a Kien-san. Just in time, Gohan stepped in the way, getting his arm cut off in the process. This angered Trunks, turning him into the next level of Super Saiyan. He was about to destroy the androids just when Dr. Gero ordered them all back to the lab. The Z fighters plan out now.
A month has passed since the android attack. Gohan is still recovering from the loss of his arm, and Goku from his burns. Goku has been asleep since the battle. Krillin and Piccolo have begun looking through the battlefield for clues as to where Gero could be. One day, while out on a mission, they found the arm of Android 19 that Krillin chopped off. They bring it back to Bulma to investigate. Vegeta has started to train in the gravity chamber with Trunks, who he is very hard on since he is his son. Trunks is more or less able to keep up with his newly found Super Saiyan form, but it's still a bit unstable. Him and Vegeta begin to bond little by little. One day he explains to Gohan and Vegeta that in his future, his master, Gohan, experienced a similar Super Saiyan transformation once Krillin and Piccolo were killed by the androids. But he did not have time to master it, as he died soon after in the hands of the androids. One day, Bulma revealed that she had just found a possible place to where Dr. Gero's lab could be located, an old Red Ribbon army base. Just as she explained this, Mr. Popo came down on his flying carpet. He explains that the Room of Spirit and Time is once again open for the Z fighters to use, although it would be wise for the Super Saiyans to train first and foremost. Krillin agrees, and they bring a recovered Goku and Gohan to the temple. Once there, Master Karin gives Gohan and Goku some senzu beans. Trunks and Gohan were extremely excited, their Saiyan blood pumping in the realization that they can finally train together. Both stepped into the Room of Spirit and Time, beginning to train for a whole year. Meanwhile, Dr. Gero finalizes the plan for his ultimate project. 16 stood next to him. A voice was heard in the distance. The voice explained,
Good, good. The power that will be gathered from this battle, it will just make him stronger.
Back at the lookout, Goku and Vegeta explain their next move. Goku explains that he has gathered the Dragon Balls and they are back at Chi-Chi's house. That reviving Raditz would be a good idea for training. Vegeta reminds Goku that Raditz did not die on Earth, that he would be revived somewhere else. Goku acknowledges this and explains that he needs to find a way to get the Namekian Dragon Balls. Goku approaches Krillin with the idea once again, knowing that he was reluctant about it before, and they fought over it. Krillin understands that Raditz is Goku's brother, and that he may be needed for the fight coming up ahead. Finally, he agrees that reviving him wouldn't be such a bad idea. Focuses and tries to communicate with Kaio-sama, who he has met before. He answers and greets Krillin. Krillin explains that they need Kaio-sama to communicate with the Namekians, and tell them that they need them once more, this time to revive and send to Earth Goku's brother. Kaio-sama reluctantly agrees, since he doesn't want any more Saiyans. So Dende and the Namekians make a wish on the Dragon Balls to revive Raditz and bring him to Earth. He is confused, freaking out a little. One of the first things he does is attack Krillin, but Krillin stops him easily. They explain what's going on, and Raditz feels very uncomfortable working with the humans, and questions how Vegeta could lower himself to working with them. Vegeta, in response, turns Super Saiyan and steps towards him, making Raditz apologize for questioning him. They all calm down, and Goku explains that they do need his help, that they will have strength in numbers if Raditz is around, but they need to train him into a Super Saiyan. Meanwhile, Trunks and Gohan train in the chamber. Trunks feels weird as they aren't too far apart in age, but their power is increasing rapidly as they train together. Trunks begins to master Super Saiyan 2, and Gohan attempts to reach that level as well. There is a glimpse of it, but cannot get there just yet. Eventually, they come out. Everyone can tell their power has increased and could be potentially stronger than any of the androids. Goku and Vegeta were about to go in, but Goku asks if he and Raditz can go instead. Vegeta agrees with some pushback, but only if he gets to go inside more than once. So Raditz and Goku go inside the chamber, training non-stop. Raditz is very aggressive, even if he can't stand up to his brother. Goku tries to explain that he knows that Raditz is not evil, and that even Vegeta isn't. They are Saiyans, yes, and Goku admits that he was lost to his culture of destruction, but has changed along with Vegeta to become more sympathetic towards the humans, even if he can never be one of them again. Raditz says that he knows all of this already, and that he's willing to try. They come out of the chamber, Raditz as Super Saiyan. Krillin stands up in surprise and asks how. Goku says that Raditz had an awakening when fighting against him, realizing how far behind from Vegeta and Goku he was. Goku asks where Gohan and Piccolo are. Krillin explains that they went down to investigate the battle below. Goku and Raditz head down, while Trunks and Vegeta go into the chamber. Goku finds a horrific scene around Korin Tower. Androids upon androids killing the population, while Gohan and Piccolo attempt to push them off and to keep them from climbing up to Korin Tower. Obviously, they can't stand up to the Saiyans, but they seem endless. Raditz and Goku join the battle, until it seems like every last android is finally gone. Just then, 17, 18, and 16 show up. 18 has a new arm, and she makes a joke about Gohan losing his. The battle starts, and they are finally able to take on the androids. Even 16, who was much stronger before, seems beatable. Raditz joins in. He isn't strong enough to take them on, but helps with long-distance ki blasts to distract them. 16 goes straight for Goku. They battle for a while until the androids retreat once again. The Sea Fighters go after them. When Bulma flies towards them on her ship, she explains to Gohan that she has something for him back at Capsule Corp, and they need to go quickly. Piccolo, Raditz, and Goku continue after the androids. Gohan and Bulma head back to Capsule Corp, where she puts him under sedation while she operates on him. This will take a while, she explains. Goku and the others end up on the Red Ribbon Army base, still damaged from when Goku attacked it back when he was young. They are looking for the androids but can't find them anywhere. They do, however, find a weird pod with a door on it in the center of the base. A red man goes inside it, and he disappears. Suddenly, they feel a great power spark up, a power stronger than maybe even 16, but similar to all the Z Fighters' ki. They are worried when a green creature with red eyes attacks them. He starts by punching Goku through one of the towers, then grabbing Raditz with his tail and choking him. When Piccolo gets close to attack with a special beam cannon, the monster slams Raditz against him. Goku comes back as a Super Saiyan and begins to battle the monster. Goku is obviously winning, but the monster has one advantage. When Piccolo goes to attack him a second time, the monster uses his tail to stab Piccolo and begins to drain his energy. Raditz manages to get Piccolo away from the fight with a double sundae. They ask who he is. Dr. Gero finally reveals himself from a tower.
He is Cell, my ultimate creation.
The doctor explains, stepping out of the shadows. He was no longer wearing his hat that covered part of his forehead and brain case. Now a black M was visible on his forehead. Cell had one too, which Goku and the rest just noticed. They did not know what this meant, but it didn't matter now. The battle had to continue. The doctor then called forward 17 and 18, who jumped next to Cell. The Z fighters witnessed as Cell absorbed the two androids, disgusted by the action. Goku actually tried to kill 17 before he could be absorbed, but 18 got in the way. In the end, Cell reached his perfect form, as he called it. Cell then began to beat down on the fighters, though Gero instructed him not to kill them. He said that they could still draw out the power from them. As he said that, a fist connected with his jaw, sending him flying through the buildings. Gohan has arrived, and this time he had both arms. Bulma was able to attach the arm of Android 19 that Krillin had retreated from the battle site to Gohan. Along with him were two mysterious men. Piccolo was incredibly disturbed by their presence and explained that he will go back to the lookout to call Trunks and Vegeta. They introduce themselves as Kaioshin and Kibito. Everyone is appalled by what the appearance of a Supreme Kai could mean, and he explains that there is something much more terrible than Cell. Cell then goes to attack Shin, who manages to dodge out of the way. He cannot match the power of Cell, but he can at least keep him at a distance. Turns out that Gohan and Bulma met Shin outside of Capsule Corp after getting his arm, and then he explained it all. Goku and Gohan begin to fight together against Cell, not doing bad at all. Their power combined helps a lot. Thanks to the training Goku and Gohan had in the hyperbolic time chamber, they are able to keep up with Cell. At this point, Vegeta, Trunks, Piccolo, and Krillin appear in the battle site. Shin and Kibito tells them that they need to go to the center of the army base, where Babidi's ship is, the pod that they saw earlier. He exclaims that Babidi had taken Boo's egg from the original resting place and took it to the base. He is gathering energy from all the fights underground. Trunks says that they can't just leave Cell up there, so he stays back as a Super Saiyan 2, along with Gohan, Krillin, and Piccolo. Kaioshin, Kibito, Goku, Vegeta, and Raditz go down below. In there, they hear the voice of Babidi, who threatens Kaioshin and mocks him. He then explains that they have to go down while fighting Babidi's numbers. First up, Pui Pui, who has a dark M on his forehead. Kibito explains that Babidi can take over people who have darkness in their hearts. The Saiyans decide to take turns, but Kibito and Kaioshin argue with them about working together. Then, the pair attack Pui Pui and defeat him easily, even after being moved to Pui Pui's planet. Turns out that they make a great team, even if they aren't necessarily fighters. They move down one more level and meet Yakon. This time Goku takes him on. As a Super Saiyan, Yakon absorbs the light. Kaioshin explains that they can't use Super Saiyan against him, that he absorbs the light energy. Goku smirks, then looks at Vegeta and nods. Raditz, Goku, and Vegeta transform into Super Saiyans, prompting Yakon to eat all the light, but it was so much energy that he simply blew up. Third, they reach one more level, and it's Raditz's turn. However, when it turns out that it's Dabura, the king of the demon realm, in the final level, Kaioshin tells them that they need to battle him at once, and watch out for his spit. Now Raditz, Vegeta, and Goku are Super Saiyans once more. Accompanied by Kibito and Kaioshin, their Saiyans attack Dabura. Dabura is a bit overwhelmed, but his power is comparable to that of Cell, the monster that Trunks and Gohan are fighting outside, maybe even a bit stronger. The battle is intense and fierce, with the Saiyans having to resort to their more sadistic tactics and dirty fighting techniques. At one point, Goku is able to get a hold of Dabura and hold him down from behind, while Raditz and Vegeta blasted him with ki blasts. They seem to be winning, until Dabura manages to spit on Kibito and Vegeta. Vegeta manages to take off his armor just in time, but Kibito isn't as lucky. In response, Vegeta smashes his fist against Dabura's face, exclaiming that they are wasting time trying to save the world like this, that they should be killing everyone on Earth, not trying to save them. Goku says that this is their home now, But soon enough, all the Saiyans will replace the humans. Raditz simply laughs. Seeing this, Dabura runs away from the fight to talk to Babidi. Dabura explains that the Saiyans' hearts are dark enough to be able to be taken over. Babidi understands and begins to cast a magic spell on the three.
Papa!
An explosion of energies fell through the ship. Kibito's statue falls and breaks into pieces. Kaishin yells at the Saiyans to resist. Nothing is getting to them. He understands that this power is similar to the one that prompted Babidi to come to Earth in the first place. Originally, that power was Trunks' Super Saiyan 2 transformation a little bit over a month ago. The power stops growing as they are teleported back to the Red Ribbon Army base. A dark M is marked on each of their foreheads, and electricity sparks around them. Everyone looks in horror. This is the birth of Majin, Vegeta, Raditz, and Goku.
Last time on Dragon Ball Z, Cell and the androids were under Babidi's control all along. After being warned by Kibito and Kaioshin, Gohan returns with a brand new arm courtesy of Bulma and Android 19. However, the Saiyans are now under Babidi's control as well. What will come about in this turn of events? The story ends now. A Saiyan's Pride. What if Goku joined the Saiyans Part 5?
The Saiyans step into the dark arena with a great smirk. Their power is immense. Cell laughs at Gohan and Trunks about how they are all but defeated. The two Saiyans stare in horror at their fathers, but they know what they must do to fight. The Saiyans stand there quietly, mesmerized by their own power, as electricity flows around them. Gohan rushes at his father, about to absorb his energy with his android arm. However, he gets slapped away. Dabura and Babidi appear with Boo's egg, telling them that it's nearly time. Gohan can't believe that this is happening again. His father has turned against him once more. He knew he couldn't trust them. He knew he couldn't trust any of the Saiyans. Now he's paying the price. Kaioshin begs them to stop, but Cell blasts him away. Gohan stands up, realizing something. The attack from his father barely hurt. Kakarot then nods, and in unison, the three Saiyans turn around and blast Dabura at once, killing the demon instantly. Thanks to Dabura's death, Kibito is freed from the spell. Babidi is baffled by how the Saiyans could disobey his orders. How could they be powerful enough to do it? Gohan took a sigh of relief, realizing that maybe it isn't too late. After all, they have another 3 Super Saiyan 2s with them that have their power increased, thanks to Babidi. Vegeta laughs loudly, telling Babidi that a Saiyan's pride can never be overtaken by mere magic. In an instant, and without warning, Babidi begins to release Majin Buu. Everybody rushes to try to stop it, but Cell gets in the way. He was a little stronger than Dabura was, but unlike him, he wasn't caught off guard. Cell uses a giant key sphere around himself, blasting everybody away from the egg of Majin Buu. Luckily, Gohan was able to absorb the energy onto his hand, blasting it back at Cell, but they couldn't stop Majin Buu's rebirth. Even so, the Saiyans yearn for this challenge. Cell steps next to the reborn Buu, and the two villains begin to get ready for battle. Vegeta, Kakarot, and Raditz rush at Buu, while Gohan, Trunks, Piccolo, and Krillin battle Cell. Though Cell seems like a beatable opponent, Majin Buu looks impossible. Even though he was released a little earlier and was a little weaker than the one we know, 3 Super Saiyan 2s were still nothing against him. The Kaioshin had to help with Cell. Trunks and Gohan made a great tag team, but Cell was a strong opponent. Thankfully, Kaioshin's magic skills allowed him to slow down the monster. Gohan was getting angrier and angrier, and his power rose. The Super Saiyan 2 strength allowed him to propel Cell up into the air, and back down, to which Trunks cut off Cell's head clean off. However, the android regenerated it in an instant. Trunks realized that Piccolo's cells must have allowed him to do it, before getting kicked away. Meanwhile, the other Saiyans tried everything in their power to fight the horrific Majin Buu, but his squishy body absorbed almost every hit. They soon realized he had an even greater regenerative power than Cell, as he could simply chuck pieces of himself at the Saiyans. They did notice, however, that blasting the monster made him take slightly longer to regenerate. They had no way of creating such a large attack to consume the whole monster. The battle continued for a long time, with no clear winner. The only thing that was clear was that the Saiyans were getting a little desperate. But then, Kakarot remembered. Krillin used the giant sphere in their battle against Frieza. They needed to get Krillin to create a similar sphere. Meanwhile, on Cell's end, the Z-Fighters blasted Cell against Majin Buu, as the Saiyans jumped out of the way. The prideful Cell stood up and mocked the Z-Fighters after pushing Buu off. This was a mistake, as the angered Buu attempted to turn him into candy. Cell jumped out of the way. Even if he was under Babidi's spell, he wasn't about to be killed by Buu. His pride and desire to be perfect overcame the spell at that moment, and he realized that he could and needed to absorb Buu to truly become perfect. And just like the Saiyans, he was no longer completely under Babidi's control. With some struggle, Cell forced his tail out. At the same time, Buu chucked a piece of himself at Cell. He attempted to absorb Cell. However, Cell's tail simply ate the piece of Buu whole. Meanwhile, Kakarot rushed over at Krillin to tell him about his plan. Krillin nodded, saying,
It's good to fight by your side again, Goku.
Krillin went up to the sky and began to create a spirit bomb. Everybody started to give their energy, and King Kai helped out by getting Earth's and King Yema's attention. People from all over the world, and even the other world, helped out. This was the biggest spirit bomb yet. Meanwhile, the fight between the two monsters continued, with the Z-Fighters attempting to help out. Buu and Cell continued to try to absorb each other, but Cell was too fast to try and turn into candy. So fast, in fact, that Cell dodges in such a way that Krillin is hit by the chocolate beam. Everyone watches in shock as Krillin drops onto the ground as a cookie. Kakarot damns the world as the spirit bomb fades away. They had already given up some of their energy, and now they were at an even worse disadvantage. Kakarot and Gohan rush at Majin Buu. Now that Krillin was dead, they couldn't think of any way to defeat Buu. Gohan got quite a rage boost from this event, since he saw Krillin as a father figure he never really had. To lose him like that again was what pushed him to the edge. Everybody started to gang up on Buu, but he kept creating small creatures to fight everybody else off. However, surprising everyone, Cell managed to sneak up behind Buu and swallow him into his tail. There was a huge explosion of ki as Cell's power rose infinitely. He laughed loudly, proclaiming himself as the most powerful being in the universe. But then the laughter stopped, and his eyes widened. Cell exploded from the inside out as a huge cloud of pink gas appeared. Buu was able to expand inside of Cell's body, killing him inside out.
Don't go anywhere. We'll be right back. And now back to our show.
As Buu regenerated, Kaioshin grabbed onto Babidi and threatened him. Then, turning to Buu and saying that he'd kill Babidi if it didn't stop. Babidi begged Buu for help, but instead, the monster kills Babidi himself. This meant that everybody's power-up from his magic was lost, as the Saiyans turned back into Super Saiyan 1. They were all exhausted with no more energy to fight. Then, Gohan thought of something. Yes, energy! Yes, with his new arm, he could power himself up greatly. Hopefully, this would work. He told Trunks and Vegeta to distract Buu, and told everybody else to use what little energy they had left to blast at him. They hesitated for a minute, but then, without question, complied. Kaioshin, Kibito, Piccolo, Raditz, and Kakarot all fired their attacks at Gohan, who extended his arm in order to absorb their power. He felt his ki rise with every single hit, but Trunks and Vegeta wouldn't be able to last for long.
Come on, just a little more. Almost there.
His power was incredible, almost unreadable. If he used all of this to blast at Buu, no way he would survive. Just then, Buu noticed what was happening.
If you're in a hurry to die, you could have asked me, not your friends!
In a flash, he blasts Gohan with a giant beam, which knocks Trunks and Vegeta to the side. Quickly, Gohan turns to absorb Buu's blast. This increases his power even more, but his arm begins to shake. His power's unstable, his arm can't take it, and then... the area is completely decimated. Everybody is either covered in dust and knocked out, or missing in action. Majin Buu is but a puff of pink smoke, slowly regenerating. Kakarot's ears rang as he slowly stood up. His vision cleared just to be greeted by the demented smile of Majin Buu.
I'm sorry for everything, Gohan. If I hadn't left you, if I had taken care of you instead of joining Raditz, this may have turned out differently.
Kakarot says with a heavy heart. Vegeta and Raditz then stand up next to him. Vegeta looks over at Kakarot, telling him that they were proud Saiyans, and the strongest in the universe. No way he could have any regrets like that. Kakarot sighed, as his brother put his hand on his shoulder.
We have all made decisions we regret, Kakarot, but we have to live with them.
In his heart, he knew Raditz was right, and that he wasn't who he used to be anyways. He had discovered his Saiyan instinct long ago, and couldn't quit even if he wanted to. If they survived this, he would have to leave with them again. But the word live is what rang on his mind, as Majin Buu began to step closer. Kakarot pulled back his arm, focusing all his remaining ki onto his palm. Vegeta and Raditz followed suit, ready to unleash a final attack. All three fired their blasts, but what little power they had left was nothing at the face of Majin Buu. Buu fired back, his blast quickly consuming the Saiyans. However, just as Buu thought it was over, he was blinded by a bright light. The hum of a great aura as Gohan has stepped in, slapping Buu's blast away. Everyone is in awe as they witness just how powerful Gohan has become. He was surrounded by a blue and yellow glow, and staring at Buu with wide, soulless eyes. Gohan pushed himself towards Buu, smashing his elbow against his face. He continues to pummel the pink blob, who is powerless to stop him. Kakarot looks on proudly, happy to see his son be so powerful. Even without an arm, he has managed to surpass every single one of them. Slowly, the others wake up. Trunks cheered on Gohan from the sidelines as he got nostalgic. He felt just how strong Gohan was while training in the time chamber, but this was a whole nother level. Likewise, Piccolo recalled the young boy he had to take care of once he was abandoned by his father. For Gohan, it was time to end this. Remember, though the Spirit Bomb was an effective and sure way to kill Buu, it wasn't the only way. After all, Gotenks almost killed Buu with a full-powered Kamehameha when Buu was vulnerable. At this point, after being obliterated into bits twice in a few minutes, and Gohan beating him to a pulp, he was definitely vulnerable. Gohan grabs Buu by the legs, slamming him onto the ground. Quickly, he jumps backwards to create space between the two. Buu is dazed as he gets back up, but in the distance, he hears. Gohan managed to create a blast with only one hand, and it was enormous. Buu tries to dodge out of the way, but Kakarot and Piccolo both fire their own attacks from behind. They are weak, barely scratching Buu, but it keeps him from moving. The other fighters soon join behind Buu. Though Raditz and Kibito had no power left to help, the Kamehameha reached Buu, swallowing the monster whole. Everyone jumped out of the way as Gohan's attack went off into space. Finally, the evil was defeated. Gohan dropped onto the ground with a sigh. Kakarot then spotted a small piece of Buu left, moving as if trying to get energy. He simply shoots it, truly ending the monster. With the day saved, everyone returned to Capsule Corp for healing and resting. A whole month passed with the fighters lamenting the loss of Krillin. In that month, something happened between Bulma and Vegeta. Wink, wink. Kibito and Shin returned to their planet, inviting Gohan to train there sometime. Trunks returned to his own timeline, having trained a little more. Finally, Gohan and the Saiyans said their goodbyes. He knew they weren't gonna stay for long, but it still hurt to say goodbye to his father again. Before then, however, Gohan, Goku, and Chi-Chi had one final meal together. It was a nice reunion, and Chi-Chi never really forgave Goku. The next day, Kakarot's team boarded a new ship created by Dr. Briefs. Gohan had his arm in bandages, looking as if Bulma was about to create a new one for him.
You've grown so much, son. I'm sorry I couldn't be there, and I'm sorry for all the trouble I've caused.
The son nodded and hugged his father. The team blasted off, seeking thrills through space. Gohan then turned to Piccolo with a smile. He smiled back at him. The two would now live at the lookout together. Kami had offered Gohan a spot as the new Guardian some time ago, and it was about time to begin that training. But no matter what, he knew that Gohan would be there to protect.
Hope you enjoyed that, guys. I told you that the beginning is really rough, but I know a lot of you guys really liked it, and it's really what started to grow my channel. I wouldn't be where I am now without it, so I have to be thankful to it somehow. I want to take this time to thank the members of the channel. Eric Dragon, Ray Blades, Neo Whitcomb, Super Kami Mewtwo, Wayne Antoine, Dustin Nelson, Sacred Saiyan, Phil J. Akir, Pizza Hut Kitman, Orlando Castellano, Hannah Rowan, Sir Justice, Midnight Combatant, The Real Samuel Randall, and Zachary Croy. But I want to give special thanks to Ray Blades, Super Kami Mewtwo, and Neo Whitcomb specifically for becoming the very first Ultra Instinct members of my channel. You guys really rock. And if you ever want to contact me on Discord, I'm always open. Thank you for watching, you guys. I have some cool stuff down the line, including What If Goku Had the Venom Symbiote Part 2, and What If Goku and Vegeta Went to Earth Together Part 4, as well as a new collab with Salad Saiyan. But I'll leave you guys with that, until we meet again. See ya!
Don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe to SmugStick, unless you want to be destroyed.
Lord Beerus, that's hardly fair. But also, don't forget to click the bell icon to get notified when he uploads new videos.